Hello everyone, today we are going to have a great magical maid who likes cute things like any stereotypical girl, but does it with style. With her maid in old-fashioned acting, she is Ikumi Makino. So let's begin talking about our maid magical girl. Ikumi Makino is a 19-year-old heel-type magical girl. Her eyes and hair are pink, and she is 150 centimeters in height. Her soul gem is a dark pink heart with wings located as a chest accessory when she is in her magical girl form. She uses a mop-like broom as her weapon, and her witch and doppel is Sylvie. Her wish to become a magical girl was to keep a cafe from running out of business and that it won't have any problems related to property or ownership. I want to keep the cafe open. I want it to stay open without any property or ownership problems. Please don't let it close down. Ikumi comes from Kosho Ward in Kamihama City. She does not currently attend a school, but she formerly was in a school called Sake Magnet School for the Arts, and her relatives are unknown. For groups, she used to be part of the Wings of Magia as a black feather, but once it disbanded, she was one of the magical girls who joined the Kamihama Magia Union. Ikumi's magical girl element is the dark element, and her ability is to freeze. Makes enemies wither, and makes them unable to act. A magical girl who wants to look adorable in any situation, she works as a maid at her maid cafe, shooting beams of cuteness with all her might. However, she has unintentionally become a comical personality due to her old-fashioned style of acting. The doppel of attention gathering, its form is a wind-up doll. The master of this emotion views wanting other people to smile and being desired as the same thing in some small way. Her doppel frantically smashes its shambles together, and anchors shoot through its eyes of those whose attention the shambles gather. Those cursed by the sound are then chased down by the anchors until their eyeballs are taken from them. If this doppel is used often, the user will feel anxious unless someone is watching them at all times. Ikumi is sad that the robes she wears for the Magias won't let her show off her cuteness. She wonders where Rio is since she has time for tea before she heads off to work. She finds her in a common room and decides to sneak up on her since Rio hasn't noticed her presence. Rio seems upset, but after a bit, she laughs it off as revenge for teasing her. Afterwards, Rio asks Ikumi if she can interview her for the paper she's writing for Magias. Ikumi hopes it can get her good side for the picture, but Rio reminds her that everyone in the organization is supposed to be anonymous, much to Ikumi's dismay. Rio tells her the interview is about why she became the magical girl, but assesses that Ikumi's name won't be used. Ikumi doesn't mind as she has nothing to hide, and is eager to tell her story to Rio since they're good friends, somehow tied by fate. In exchange, Ikumi asks her to hear Rio's story of why she became the magical girl. Rio agrees and Ikumi begins her story. Akumi explains how in her first year of middle school, her dream was to become a volleyball player. Even so, she wasn't very athletic, and no matter how much she practiced, she never improved. Her friend Yumi would cheer her up by dressing her in cute outfits. Around that time, her friend Yumi had grown with a growth spurt and often was mistaken for Ikumi's older sister. Ikumi encouraged her to try volleyball with an old teammate of hers that she bumped into and found Yumi had a talent for it. As they finished playing, her old teammate commented on how well Ikumi sang at karaoke. Yumi had practiced singing with Ikumi once. Yumi wanted to be an idol, but despite her singing lessons, she never improved. Her friend mustered on the idea, and both Yumi and Ikumi realized while they didn't have the talent needed to fulfill their own dreams, they could fulfill the other dream of the other. When Yumi entered middle school the next year, she became the ace of the volleyball team and was admired by her teammates. Ikumi, on the other hand, was doing well in her dancing, singing, and acting classes, but was being told by her teachers that her cutesy character act wasn't cutting it. Since her real personality kept slipping through, she failed at the last audition, and her teacher told her that the type of idol that Ikumi was aiming for was too outdated. Ikumi didn't want to change it though, since that was the kind of idol that she and Yumi wanted to be. Unlike Yumi, by the time Ikumi graduated middle school, she still hadn't made a name for herself, but Ikumi wouldn't compose, and that's when Cutie appeared to offer a contract. Ikumi didn't want to wish to become an idol since it would mean she never achieved it through her own work. Cutie continued to offer her a contract as Ikumi kept dancing. One day, Ikumi failed another audition when she ran into Yumi. Ikumi said a brief hello before going home for the day. She began to wonder what she was doing with her life, since she hadn't made any progress in the past 2 years. Yes, Yumi was making lots of progress. As she began to feel down, she realized it was always Yumi that would come and cheer her up and keep her from overthinking things. Yumi then appeared and insisted on taking Ikumi on a shopping spree. Taking note that Ikumi had gotten much better at color coordinating her clothes, Ikumi's old teammate and Yumi's new friend showed up and complimented Ikumi on her looks. She noted that Ikumi had gotten much cuter since last they met, and she could tell she had been working hard on her dream. Yumi agreed, and Ikumi thought of how much Yumi took notice of her and was always there for her. She assumed herself she wouldn't contract to become an idol as it would betray Yumi's dreams. Cutie soon stopped persisting Ikumi to contract. As Ikumi entered high school, she was offered a job at a Maid cafe that the school was organizing. It would give a chance to students to really shine when they aren't able to do auditions in the past. And since it was paid part-time work, it was technically a professional work. Entertainment producers would also come, so the chance to be scouted was still real. Ikumi soon hired at the cafe. After Ikumi had been working there for some time, the other girls had been picked up for idol gigs. One was an expert Ikumi, who continues to strip out of her idol persona. The other girls called her Granny for how old-fashioned her persona is, and after 2 years there, even some of the customers were calling her that too. But she managed to secure a small fan base and was able to shine on the cafe stage. Despite all her happiness, the Maid cafe was destined to close. It was an old building and the cafe was being forced to evict. However, the owner still hadn't found a new location yet. Even though Ikumi had tried to find a loophole in the laws to prevent them from being evicted, it was no use. All Ikumi could do was urge the other idol maids to smile on the last day the cafe was open. As the last customers left, Ikumi stayed behind alone to grieve for the cafe. Once more, Cutie appeared before her and urged her to remember what he had told her before. But her wish not necessarily having to be used towards a dream, Ikumi thought about the feelings in her heart when she had stood on stage and how her juniors had also loved this Maid cafe that had allowed their dreams to come true. It was then Ikumi contracted and wished for the cafe to continue to run. Her wish came true immediately. The rightful landowner had been so moved by the final performance that he sold the cafe to the school, who immediately remodeled and reopened the cafe. Ikumi went right back to work, and so being teased by her juniors for her outdated act. However, her juniors also thanked Ikumi for urging them to try their best, even on the last day of the cafe, which ended up saving it. One day, Ikumi entered the witch's barrier to uphold her responsibilities as a magical girl. As nervous as she was able to dispatch the familiars with ease, but had trouble dealing with the witch itself. Suddenly, a voice rang out, and another magical girl appeared to assist Ikumi. The other girl turned out to be Yumi, who had also contracted. After they defeated the witch, Ikumi and Yumi caught up with each other since they hadn't seen each other in a long time. Ikumi grew suspicious and asked Yumi if she didn't contract it back when she was foiling and doing poorly for auditions. Yumi replied she was upset no one was taking notice of Ikumi's talents and wished for Ikumi-chan to meet someone who can understand how lovely she is, someone to give her the chance to become an idol. Ikumi admitted that she had considered simply wishing to become an idol, but she had wanted to do it by her own hard work. She was grateful to Yumi because now she had a place where she could shine, and how she had used to her own wish to protect this special place. Both girls had used their wishes towards Yumi's dream. The two girls teamed up and spent a happy year together studying at school and hunting witches. Normally the two were in sync and had no difficulties, but one day they encountered a particularly powerful witch and had gotten to the point of exhaustion. Caught off guard, the witch attacked Yumi and greatly injured her leg. As Ikumi attended to her, Yumi began to worry her sports scholarship for college was coming up and she wouldn't be able to play volleyball with such an injury. The despair of her dreams not coming true pushed Yumi over the edge and she unleashed her doppel in front of Ikumi. Ikumi stood in shock and confusion when suddenly Ryo appeared and urged her to escape before the barrier collapsed. Ryo picked up the now unconscious Yumi and the girls escaped. Ryo assured Ikumi that Yumi was safe, just unconscious for now. Ikumi, worried about her friend, asked Ryo what she knew of the creature they just saw. Ryo didn't know and suggested asking Mitima about it. Mitima explained doppels to the girls, and by then, Ryo had to leave. Afterwards, Mifio approached Ikumi with a white feather in tow. After introducing herself, Mifio had the white feather use her magic to heal Yumi of her wounds, and then leave. Thanks to the healing, Yumi was able to pass her test and receive the sports scholarship. Both girls thanked Mifio profoundly, which only made Mifio uneasy. Mifio said she would explain about doppels, but warned the girls that the truth would be painful. Since it would affect her dreams, the two opted to hear her out, and so they all headed out and went down by the river. Mifio explained about witches and about the wings of Magia, who were dedicated to liberating magical girls from this fate. Although Mifio had urged them to go home and think it over, Ikumi immediately decided to join the organization, not only because they had healed Yumi, but because she hated the thought of losing her dream due to becoming a magical girl. Nor did she want to spread curses and malice once she herself became the witch. Yumi decided to think it over, but she too eventually joined. Ikumi trusted Mifio, but not necessarily the rest of the organization. Soon after, Mifio introduced the two new black feathers to Ryo, who recognized Ikumi right away. In the present day, Ryo thanked Ikumi for her story and told her she would do better to keep her her natural self rather than force the adult personality all the time, since she kept forgetting to keep it up and would slip back into her original self. Ikumi cried about being bullied again before noticing she was late for work and ran off, promising to see Rio tomorrow. Ikumi has an ability called Freeze, and what is known of this ability, it can be used to wither the enemies. Whatever wither means in this, I don't know. But when this ability is applied onto an enemy, it will make the enemy unable to do anything and act missing a turn during the battle. Her first name, Ikumi, means perfume and beauty, and her last name, Makino, means pasture and field, respectfully. Fact 1. Her illustrator is Ryu Ueda. Fact 2. She was the first unnamed character to display her doppel ability. However, the doppel of her playable version is different from the one she used as an enemy character. Fact 3. Akumi's Japanese VA is Hina Kino, who you may know from these roles: Misato in Erased, Sylvie Cut in Hybrid X Heart Magia's Academy Anorexia, Julie in Princess Principal, and Tiki in Symphogear AXE. She has an English VA who is Diva Marie Gregory, although some other sites others credit her for playing just a Black Feather. Everyone who has watched the Magia record anime dub would know the Black Feather in question is Ikumi Makino. The roles that Diva Gregory is best known for are Monaka in Arexco, Flan in the Fire Emblem series, Amano Zako in Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Ranmei in Tower of God New World. And that's Ikumi Makino. I hope you enjoyed learning about her character from me. Next time, we will talk about a hot-blooded magical girl, Ryoko Natsu. See you next time. Bye.